Hello everybody, Jeff Davis here. Today's video is going to discuss how you can deal with and address your suicidal thoughts and feelings. This could be something that you yourself have struggled with. It could also be something that someone you know has struggled with. If you are dealing with suicidal thoughts and feelings, or if you ever have at any point in your life, I'd like you to know from the bottom of my heart, you're not alone. You are not alone. There are a lot of people in the world who have struggled with suicidal thoughts, and you will get through this. When I was 17 years old, 11 years ago, I seriously considered suicide. I was severely depressed for many months, and it all came to a culmination after a series of setbacks, and I came very close to committing suicide. So if you are struggling, I get it. I know how you feel, and the goal of this video is to give you practical tips and strategies to help you move into a better place. First tip is to shift out of rock bottom into neutral, not trying to be overly positive. Screw positivity. When you're at rock bottom, all you want to do is to just shift into neutral. How do you shift into neutral? By observing your mind. And the way you observe your mind, well, let me give you some tips and strategies around that. First, you can meditate and or pray. Meditation was huge for me. It's been helpful for a lot of other people. Perhaps that could work for you. There are all sorts of guided meditations out there. And prayer? Well, prayer can involve praying to a higher power or someone or something that you believe in. Those are very practical strategies to help you enter into solitude and access your inner spark, your inner strength. Another way to shift into neutral, to observe your mind, is to call a friend. This could be a trusted friend, colleague, family member, coworker, someone who you know you can vent to without being judged, and you just share with them your thoughts and feelings. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to call them all the time or abuse the privilege of getting the opportunity to talk to them, but someone you trust can be incredibly cathartic in terms of dealing with your suicidal thoughts. Another way to shift back into neutral and observe your mind is to reflect in a journal. Reflect in a journal. When you process your thoughts on paper, when you delve into the innermost depths of your psyche and release those thoughts into the safety of a journal, it will help you make sense of everything you're dealing with. I'm not saying you'll find all the answers right away or necessarily feel immediately better, but at the very least, it will at least provide you some relief and an outlet to express all of these thoughts you're dealing with. Finally, in terms of shifting into neutral, by observing your mind, you can go for a walk. This could be a walk in nature, a walk around your neighborhood, a walk at the local track or a park, wherever you can go to just get outside. In this age of technology, very often it can become incredibly easy to get sucked into our phones, our smartphones, or sucked into our laptops. There's social media and there's websites, and those are good when used responsibly, but oftentimes I see that other people, including myself by the way, abuse technology in that we don't have a balance. We're using them too much, and we get sucked into virtual reality. Here's the key to remember. Virtual reality is exactly that. Virtual reality. A simulation of reality, not reality. Fake reality. When you get outside and you breathe in the air and you get some perspective, it can really help you process those difficult thoughts and view what you're dealing with from a different light. And you can go for a walk by yourself or with friends, whatever works for you. Next tip in terms of dealing with your suicidal thoughts. Now we've moved off of that first tip, which is to shift back into neutral. Don't try to be overly positive. Next tip is to remember that you are loved. You are loved. I know what it feels like to think that no one cares. When I was at rock bottom, someone who I thought was my best friend said to me on the phone, "Jeff, no one cares." That was a little mean and a little harsh. Now, I do appreciate that he took the time to talk to me on the phone. I do. And perhaps it was a form of tough love. And maybe he didn't know to the extent that I really was suicidal, but I definitely felt like no one cared in that moment. What I want to remind you is that Yes, there are some bad eggs out there, like my fake friend from high school, but not everyone in the world is bad. There's a lot of good people. I promise you there's someone who loves you. There's someone who cares about you. And if you think that there's no one in the world who loves you or cares about you, I beg to differ, because I care about you. I love you. You're a tremendous person for being willing to face these issues. It takes a great deal of courage, and I would like to commend you for that. Final tip in terms of dealing with your suicidal thoughts and feelings is to remember that you have a purpose for being here on the planet. You have a purpose for being here. Your purpose won't dawn on you right away. It takes many weeks, months, even years to figure out your purpose, so it takes time. But you're here for a reason on the planet. There are opportunities to make a difference, to help others. There are possibilities to expand your horizons, to enter into new reality. And again, I know it doesn't feel like it right now, because I know what it's like to think you're worthless. I know what it's like to think that you're nothing and to have no hope and to be ashamed and embarrassed. But I promise you that you have a purpose, that you will get through this, and that there is a reason for you being here on this planet. As we bring all this together and as we wrap up, I'd like to tell you that asking for help is a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. So what I'd like to encourage you to do is to talk to a psychologist. Talk to a psychologist. They can help you deal with you even further with your suicidal thoughts and feelings. I'm not a psychologist myself. I have been researching this topic, and I definitely hope that I've helped you in some way. I'd like to add that because I'm not a psychologist, I would think it would be in your best interest to talk to someone to help you deal with your suicidal thoughts and feelings. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that whatsoever. In fact, it's a sign of strength to be willing to talk to someone. It's a great deal of courage, and in fact, it shows what a kind of person you are, which is someone who is looking to move forward and to get out of what you're currently dealing with. You're a wonderful person. I believe in you. You will get through this. Stay strong. I know things suck. I know it sometimes feels like there's no hope and all is lost, but you will get through this. There's a reason for you being here. Keep moving forward, and before you know it, you'll be shifting to a better, more neutral place where you can view life in a much easier way, and things won't seem so difficult.